player, a sports person?
Oh, that's a good question. I know a lot of people would, promote that. I don't think so much I would.
My son's a sportsman, but he never played. He played, but he didn't professionally. And I did too. But I wouldn't want my grandchild, to play. What are your reasons?
Well, my daughter plays collegiate golf for a university, a D1 school, and I think there's a lot of pressure. And I think that there's a lot of expectation that goes along with it, and you have to be a very balanced person in order to manage it all.
Yes, and it's a very difficult chore to be a player because you're playing in the daytime, all day long. You're on the field practicing.
I'd like to chime in there because I think sports is a great character builder.
I would agree.
For kids, and as they go further, I remember when I was playing football, you think that you can only do so much physically, and then the coach goes through the other people and around you, you realize that, wow, I can do a lot more than where you get that threshold. Your body actually can go way more. And I think in business it helps, and a lot of times people, when they are recruiting people, they look at, do they play sports or not? It might not be a decide. It may
I think on the high school or collegiate level, that's fine. But when you get into a professional environment, I think it's a little bit different. And I would definitely advocate for the sports throughout school and things like that. I mean, you're right. It builds discipline. There's a discipline that goes along with it. They have to time manage, all of those things that are really important. But I think when you get into that professional level where you're making the $20 million salaries and you might not have ever had anything remotely close to that, and all the attention and people wanting things from you, and you have a job to do, and there's a lot to manage with that. And then who do you trust?
And you're really never prepared for it, because you don't know if you're going to be a pro football player or a pro basketball player until you actually be one.
Right. And all the things you guys have brought up, that's very true. But on the other side of it, if you get injured, your back at 23 years or your leg, you'll feel that for the rest of your life. And it's dangerous, as it is presently today. They're working on many problems, young people. One guy, his whole column, he's got a mental brace. He was in the paper about a couple of months ago. And young people, there's so much, you got people hitting you at 250 pounds, 300 pounds of football. But certainly on the other side of it, it is a wonderful thing in terms of being leaders, learning to respect other people, learning to stick to something. And there's a lot of things that I would choose, and I have chosen for my grandson, who has been accepted in about 20 schools.
Wow.
Full-time. Wow. Harvard, Columbia, and we just chose one probably he's going to go to.
But isn't it interesting though, like how much of an emphasis is put on sports at a low, if kids were disciplined in that same way for school type things, like a math club, let's say, that you went to 3 times a week for 2 hours. Could you imagine the potential?
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I mean, my kids, are definitely into sports and that, and that's where they would prefer to spend their time. But
and matter of fact, when I was in college, I was a wrestler, and I did the martial arts. Oh, I thought I was something. And one day I'm in the gym, and I had this guy. He was way bigger than me. and I was just doing everything to him. It was flying and knocking, all that. And then all of a sudden, he caught on, and I felt myself going through the air. And a funny feeling, and I fell on my back. That was the end of me. You see, and I could feel that today at different times.
Just from that one incident.
That one incident.
So do you think that the big salaries then are, you know, that because there's this high risk of injury and things like that, that it balances that out? Is that the justification for a big salary? And I mean, it's so many times it ruins their lives. It's like, how, you know, could you make $1 million instead of 20 million? I mean, would that be sufficient? Or
The money is fair. It's important that people make money.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest business in the world.
Sure.
And besides prisons.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And so money doesn't do what people think it does. It wrecks families, for example.
Exactly.
Or, for example, a player who has a family, he gets big money.
Mm-hmm.
What's the first thing that happens? His father wants a big car.
Yeah.
His mama wants a $2 million house,
Right.
and his brothers, I've been with you all the way, and the girlfriend wants to have a baby before baby. Now you cut away half of the salary.
Yeah.
What the kid is left with. What should I do?
Mm-hmm. It's huge responsibility.
Yeah, they did help me. This one did this. He's torn,
Mm-hmm.
and now he's really vulnerable
Mm-hmm.
to get with a woman who's going to say, "I love you,"
Mm-hmm.
and she's beautiful too. And at the top of his sexuality, he's dead in the water.
He's out. He's done.
Look at your boy, the golfer.
Yeah.
He was no.
No, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
a funny
and
story.
his father taught him. You know why he. This is my speculation, as a
Mhm.
psychologist. He did no more than what the players do all the time.
Right.
But let me tell you how he was raised. His father introduced him to the game. And his father was very, 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 I don't want to use the right word. He's a kind of father that stuck with his son and taught him how to be a man with rules and regs and respect, or he never would have, being black, he never would have.
But his father didn't play by those rules.
Well, I don't know much about that, but he passed that on to the son.
So he didn't lead by example.
That's what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say. Exactly.
Gotcha.
But one side, people say he did or he didn't, but parents, for example, I'm sure I've done things that I told my son not to do, okay? And so they buy some of it, and their progeny, they want to be a better man.
Mhm.
So when you get certain principles related to a religion or your stability, if she's one of the first persons that held a position like he did, and so now he does the wrong thing, all of that money's gone, and he couldn't play anymore. And you know why? Because you had the people saying to him, he's a good guy. Man, come and stay with me. And you got to make a confession to the public and everything about your stuff. And the only way to do it is to talk to one of our people. And all the guilt in the world comes up. My daddy told me not to do these kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
I did them anyway. And I have no rationale. And God's going to punish me. Depends on your ethic, your raising. You know how it is being in Catholic religion. Okay? So now...
And I don't have any of that Catholic joke.
Yeah. But some people preach it, and their kids respond to it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's this guilt, and this is poor planning. You have to have a clear mind. I mean, when you got a skill, you have to foster it, love it, enforce it, and think well of yourself. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to knock this ball so-and-so. There's a lot of unconscious things. People see the outside, they don't see the inside. So, now he's playing, he's had some time, he's met some other girl, I guess.
She looks just like the first wife.
Yeah.
She does.
You know what my father taught me? He said, Herb, you may as well stay with your wife, no matter what it costs. You're going to marry the same girl over and over.
Is that right?
And then you know how it is? I know I like a woman that's clean, a woman that's loving, and they all look different. And those are the ones I like, you know, the attention I got, I want it from them. Me doing what I can to make them happy, that's what I do. And sharing, like my mom did, and all that kind of stuff. So no matter what they look like, that's the same woman.
We're getting a little off topic here, but I just want to thank everybody for tuning in to the time is now. We have Maria and Dr. Herb Martin.
Let's say Herb Martin.
Herb Martin. We're talking about sports, life, and being a professional sports figure, and how money may also wreck families in those areas, but we kind of shifted into another topic here with what you were just saying. So this show is, the goal of this show is to help people understand their decision-making process using tools of reality, rationality, and self-talk. So by those three types of tools that we are helping our audience by case examples and by other things that you can call in the future and whatnot and discuss different matters that are pertinent to everybody. And what you said just now was about the clear mind. And I think when you have a clear mind, that's when you can make good decisions.
That's right.
So, how do you, Maria, clear your mind when you're about to make a decision? Is there a format you use, or?
I usually shut off everything.
Shut off everything?
Yeah, I totally decompress. I like being in my car driving and just having quiet and trying to gather the thoughts and organize myself.
And then after you've organized yourself?
And I always use the 48 or 72-hour rule, depending on how big the problem is.
Oh, is that right? Well,
I really do.
So you don't make a decision immediately?
No.
Okay, so...
No, because it's usually an emotional mess if you do.
That's very good.
Right.
Excellent.
And I also play by the rule of I can go back and change my mind too. On a
Oh, is
decision.
that right?
If I rethink it more.
It's my decision right now, but I have the right to change.
This is true. Okay, I will say with my children I do that. It's not necessarily always an adult thing.
Right, the hubby might not go with that every time.
It's a harder sell.
You know, it's
What's a decision that you had recently that wasn't an immediate decision that you might have had happen to you?
To rethink?
Yeah, that you needed some time like that. That was a bigger decision than just a small.
Yeah, right. Well, recently my father passed away, and thank you. And
rest in peace.
yeah, great guy,
Yeah.
great man, but he had a good life, and it caused some drama in my core family.
Sure.
And so, it brings up a lot of unresolved issues with your siblings and all of this, and so some stuff had happened, and it was just you need a break, and so you need to kind of clear your head and think about things and let things kind of settle down a little bit, not so emotional. and then come back and revisit it.
That's a tough time, because you are dealing with a lot of emotions during
Yes.
grieving and
Oh, yeah,
death.
it's a natural thing.
And then all these other emotions of, like, my sister was favored by my dad on this day, and that pops in my head.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm mad at her because of what he did, and he's
Or
gone.
she was always the best loved and all these kind of issues.
I can imagine,
Yeah,
yeah.
oh yeah,
That's true.
everything, you know.
Mhm.
And that's a time when you need to look at the reality issues. And I like the process you use, and it's really the process that we're talking about. Reality comes first,
Mhm.
and it takes some time for you to face reality, and who you are in the context of a real situation in your family.
Yeah, I think what really complicates it is that we're such an instant gratificated, type of world right now. Is that a word?
IGG. Instant gratification girl. That's right.
Okay.
IGG.
But people want to make it better, or they want to react right away. They don't want to take time to pause and let the dust settle. And it's
Right.
really, it's a discipline. I mean, you have to make yourself shut down and not react emotionally.
That must have took some time to get to that place
Yeah.
of not making a decision immediately, because I think a lot of people jump to that.
That is one of the times that you become irrational, blaming yourself for things you really didn't do.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I should have done this, I should have done that. Wow. Then you have to ask yourself, why should I have done that? Did I do something wrong? That's all guilt is.
Mhm.
And then when you look at yourself, say, guilt is a word that means I've done something wrong. What have I done wrong? I love my dad.
Right.
I love my sisters and my mother. And I got a right to be sad. And also, being sad is not the way Dad would want me to live.
Right.
And so I can do something about that. I can change me. I don't care what other people are doing, saying, or being. You're always home. Your head is here.
Right.
Your world is here.
Right.
And you can make it the way you want to be.
Right. No, it's
So
true.
So let's say I'm the other sister, and I'm all worked up, and I'm all this. How could she maybe, I'm not saying that that's how she is, but let's say the other person is pushing, they're acting irrationally, what would you tell that person? What are some tips and tools? Is it a deep breath? Do I scratch my head? What do I do to get me into, hey, wait a minute, I'm not thinking rationally here. What do I do? Pinch myself?
It's such a thing as going beyond yourself. Now that I'm in peace with the world and myself specifically, I can say to you, honey, I understand how you feel. And I'm not saying you're right or wrong, but you got a right to be whatever you want to be and think anyway. But when you're unhappy, it's hard. I'm here for you. And maybe that you might be angry with me about something, and I still love you. And I know it's not easy for you. And I had the same thoughts and feelings, but I passed through them. And what I have done is just looked at myself and the reality of what I have been through. And I'm still here. And I'm here for you.
So you're basically saying to kind of like decompress the situation, kind of like what Maria did. Maybe get yourself out of the place that you're at in the moment.
Yes.
Get yourself in a isolated, secluded, maybe in the car driving.
Yeah, whatever
you
you do,
take a
whatever.
shower before you react.
See, she's a
Take some time.
processor.
Mhm.
Because she knows that, she knows her own feelings and she respects that.
Mhm.
And she thinks, I want to be happy.
And I think it's also about like thinking about what your outcome is. Like, what is it that you really want this to look like in the end? Because
Yes.
you kind of have to back out of it
Yeah.
that way and think, well, if I do this, I'm not going to end over here.
That's right. That's
You
what-
know, if this is where you really want to be, you kind of might have to take some different
So
choices.
she's
That's
a
right.
very realistic person.
Yes.
She's using the reality.
Yeah.
Real
It's like,
well.
here's my path. These are
Mhm.
the pieces I got to do to get.
Yeah.
to that
Which also
place.
causes a lot of problems with people who don't necessarily want to always make it better. Some people like creating chaos and living in drama.
Right.
And if you don't play in that game,
Uh-huh.
you know, sometimes
You
take.
disappoint them.
the-
Yeah. And, you know, and actually,
Good.
they don't want necessarily like it, but they have no other game.
Right.
And they've learned, they got their way by either crying or bad mouthing other people.
Oh my gosh, that's
And then
bad.
one of the things that they can do, if once you recognize that's how they are, then you don't change what you know. It's not going to get them anywhere.
Right, they like a reaction.
I got a thing. Whenever I think somebody's a jerk, you know what I think I think, I love people who do dumb things and stuff, because I wouldn't be so smart. It wasn't so
They
much.
pushed us.
And so the recognition that you're not living somebody else's life, you want to live your own life, and that's all you're able to do,
I like that.
isn't it, you know? And,
These are the types of things that we want to help more people with, and to try to broadcast this
Yeah.
to more people so that they can take that little bit of time. Maybe it sometimes is 10 minutes, but could make a lifelong change
Oh, yeah.
because of
Oh my
that
gosh,
simple
absolutely.
decision.
yeah,
And I think a lot of people don't realize how important some decisions are.
yeah, yeah.
So
And-
I appreciate everybody coming together here today and
Mhm.
talking about, we talked a little bit about sports and being a sports professional. We talked about how money is not always good for the family.
Mhm.
So even things that we think may be good
Mhm.
could be bad for us if we don't employ the right tools for them, like in the case of the sports.
You need a strategy.
Yeah. Um,
And self-talk is still one of the things that I think, will
help you.
help you over time, and maybe during these types of situations, like especially with grieving and whatnot, everybody is doing self-talk within themselves, and we're probably saying, well, I'm just gonna, back away, I'm talking, I'm gonna just decompress, go away, leave the situation, and maybe other siblings were, their self-talk was, I'm not gonna let her get away with this again.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not gonna
yeah,
do
yeah,
this.
yeah. Oh,
This is
yeah.
enough of that, and you're not going anywhere, Maria. You're staying here,
Yeah.
right?
And a wonderful way in this whole scheme of things is to listen to it and just go beyond it, and go beyond yourself. So my brother or sister was really upset. They never could face certain things, and so they got a way of trying to walk through things. They're telling themselves, I can't, I must do this, I must do that.
Right,
There's nothing you must do except die and pay taxes.
right.
And even taxes,
you're
you
right,
don't have
like
to
what-
pay.
You
You
don't
go to
have to
jail.
pay that's right. You got choices. I was gonna get to that one.
Right. Every
But-
situation we have a choice to be, but I think deeper than all this is like, I can't really deal with self-talk or reality or rationality unless I'm starting from a good place of
Yeah.
like who I want to be.
Yeah.
You have to define, I think, who you are, who you want to be. Maybe your sibling wants to be loud, wants to create.
Well, there's dynamics in a family too, on how you get attention.
Sure. And
Yeah.
we all know
Absolutely.
what our family dynamics are.
Mhm.
I have brothers, I have my sons, and each are different.
Mm-hmm.
but the thing that holds us together is the fact we love one another.
Mhm.
You know,
And you choose to be in the relationship every day.
Yes. To us, if we were taught to love one another, I think my brother and I have had a fight when we were 12 and 13, and we're fighting in a bedroom. And my brother he could beat me. He's strong, stronger than me. I was smaller. And then by accident, I hit him in the eye, and then he fell down, and we're torn up the back the bedroom. My father came in. He said, "Are you guys going crazy?" And no, Dad. And he said, "This should never happen." And I'll tell you what, you guys gonna replace that furniture, and if I do this, see you into this kind of thing, I'm gonna have to take my belt to you.
Uh-oh.
Which he never did. He did. Yeah, that's right. But he was a strong guy. I mean, and he never said that much. But when he acted,
Yeah.
you were doing what he wanted you
Well,
to do.
my-
But the
yeah.
point is that you know, my brother and I hang out. He doesn't go out much, but we go to eat and that kind of thing because we're different. But people say, you guys go out together all the time or not? And I think it's so strange, you know.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
That's my brother.
I grew up with this.
Yeah, that's my brother.
Yeah, most people don't have that anymore, though.
No.
Yeah, no, they
Same
don't.
routine.
And one of the things we long for, what we can't have or what we want, and in reality, we have to look and make decisions, like you said, at a time when we're ready to make them. But you know, to our basic clients that we're going to be addressing ourselves to, is to leave some foundation to make choices, to think about things.
Open the mind, different way of handling it.
Yeah, I met a couple that were getting married, wanted to get married, and the woman says she wanted a ring, and she picked a 5-carat ring. And it's clear and whatnot.
That's at the 20-year mark.
And
You can make it that long.
Now, look at this. So, and the guy goes, you know, and so he's pulled his weight. I love this woman, and I'd like to buy this ring, but she makes $8 an hour, and he makes $8 an hour. And now here comes reality. And you can have either one. There's pain on each end. What do you want? Long pain, short pain?
There's pain doctors everywhere.
You making $400. We just making $400. Yeah,
She's not gonna make a decision.
That's all she
She's
gonna
gonna
say. She's gonna take the drive. She got vested.
That might be a 72 hours.
And so it's $15,000, and that's quite a bit of money, you know. When you make that much, and you got kids,
That's
you
ridiculous.
Yeah,
Well,
but you
It's
know,
no reality,
they
right,
do
I got it.
Every
I know.
now that is
Reality.
the ball work.
I know.
These are the things that we want to bring up, case scenarios.
I'll have my
Future
jeweler come, and people don't even know the weight of a carrot, the clarity.
You know, and the thing is, you know, there's this, like, I love saying, you know, you don't know what you don't know. It's like you don't even know how to frame a question the right way to even
Yeah.
say, if you're obviously making $8 an hour and considering a $15,000 ring, I mean, you're so skewed in your thought process or judgment
That's
or
right.
what, you know, who you are and where you're
That's right,
at.
that's right.
That, you know, that would take a lot to pull back some of those layers, but,
I just had a terrific thought.
what?
You're gonna be on our program.
Oh.
There we go. Thanks for your coming and joining us today.
Thank you.
We're doing a great show.
Thanks for